Okay, I'm ready.
Grateful for consent. I see you. So welcome. This is your first experience in D&D, correct?
Yes.
All right. So on my screen is your character sheet. You should be able to mirror what I'm looking at with your own character sheet, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
All right. So what we are going to be focusing on today is, I'm not going to say it's full, like it's pure narrative, but I will, like, if we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. Okay, let me focus. So this is going to be a pure narration based session between me and you. This is strictly about your character and getting it from point A, where you are in the world, to point B, which is getting on your way to the city. That
Okay.
is the beginning and the end goal. What's going to happen throughout this session is we're just going to go through a story, storytelling with one another about who your character is, what they're going to do, all those different things. Like I said before, there are good roles and there are bad roles. Sometimes you will fail miserably, sometimes you will succeed outstandingly, but we lean into those moments. The same way with any RP. Stuff can go bad, but how your character reacts to that stuff is what's important. I'm not here to kill your character. I'm not here to make your character's life miserable. However, we lean into whatever happens, happens. When it comes down to today is going to be strictly focusing mainly on skill checks. So,
Okay.
skill checks are involved with your main six stats, which are strength, dexterity, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. And
Okay.
within those main six stats, tell me if I'm going too fast.
Nope.
Within those main six stats are skills, which are this whole list of them here.
Okay.
This whole list of them here. So, for instance, if I say that you look and you see there is something fluttering above you in the sky, what do you do? What would you do? That is your character, just in general. Like I say, you see like a, well, I'll say this. You see a shadow looming over the sky. What do you want to do?
Figure out what it is.
All right. So you are you trying to just see what it is?
Figure out what it is and where it's coming from.
Okay. So if you're trying to figure out that in its direction, I want you to make a perception check for me. So that's an example. So what you would do is you would roll that d20 that I told you about. You would
Okay.
roll that, give me the number, and add your
Six.
proficient. I mean, your you rolled a what, 6?
No, no. I rolled a
So
10,
oh,
but
you rolled a
I add
10.
six to it, right? For perception.
Yes, yes.
So 16.
Exactly. So that would be a good skill check. It all depends on the difficulty. Like for instance, if you're trying to see something that's miles away, I would bump up the difficulty. So you would have to get something like maybe a 20. But if you don't
Okay.
reach a 20, then we'll move from there to see how what you do see. So
Okay.
skill checks can be failures, successes, depending on how difficult the thing is. Like if you're trying to, there's a difference between you doing a tuck and roll versus you trying to do a backhand spring into a flip over a table, sliding through someone's legs, and you know what I'm saying? Like
That would be
the
performance,
complication.
right?
That would be acrobatics.
Acrobatics. Okay.
But yeah, but depending on how complicated you want something done based on their narrative you want to make for your character, depends on the difficulty and depends on how well you roll.
Okay.
So, we got that understood with skill checks. Now, there's a different type of skill check called a saving throw. Like, for instance, if there is a boulder coming down your way and you're trying to avoid it, I would say you need the mobility to avoid it. So, you would make a dexterity saving throw, which is this section here.
Okay.
So, you would roll that same d20 and you would add your modifier. You don't have to do it now, but I'm just
Oh,
giving you the example. And you would add your modifier. All of these checks Anything that I say I need you to make a blank check for me is going to be a D20
Okay.
always. It's never going to change.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when it comes down to combat and stuff like that, you won't be doing any combat today.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
I will say I might throw in a few loops in there that has to do with your class and what's this thing called, species features
Okay.
and traits, but I will help you through that today.
Okay.
Now, when we get into it for our official session 0, then we'll go over combat and features and stuff later.
Okay.
But what's important is that the only other thing that you really don't have to worry about, this is really a DM thing, but I'm just making you aware of it, is you have passive perception, insight, and investigation right here. That's
Okay.
basically like your perception. Like, for instance, like something like if it's perception based, it's something that you will naturally catch with your eye.
Okay.
Whereas insight is like a vibe check. Like, this is your passive, like, you feel weird about this person,
Okay.
so that's what those are. So we'll be focusing on checks today and narrative, flair, and storytelling today.
Okay.
So with that being said, how do you feel? You ready?
Probably not, but I'm here.
No, you'll be fine. You'll
uh,
be fine. So, what we're going to do is what I've been doing with everybody else is let's take our shoulders and roll them front and back, do a little shimmy if you have to, crack your neck if you have to, take some deep breaths like in and out, clear your
all
head about
right.
anything else you got going on, and we are going to hop right in to this world.
Okay.
So, we are going to start. It's dark, pitch black darkness. There is not a sound anywhere. There is nothing. You look in every cardinal point, north, you turn, you can feel your body turn to the east. You feel it turn to the south. You feel it turn to the west and back north. You look up, you look down, and you see nothing. You look and it's black. It's nothing but a dark void. And then suddenly you hear a sound in the far, far, far distance. It sounds like something snapped, but ever so quickly. And then you hear another snap, and it sounds like snaps of different intensity, almost like a twig, like a very small twig being snapped at different intensities. And then you hear something that sounds like a raspy roar that's doubling over on itself, like it's roiling over top of itself. And you start to feel a bit warm. You don't see your hands, you don't see your feet, you don't see yourself as a being in this moment, but you feel warmth, and you hear this like a crackling, and it gets a little bit warmer and a little warmer till it starts to get hot. You feel like you should be sweating. You feel like you need some kind of coolness. You need a stream, water. You start to feel like your throat should be dry. You feel panic.
Hmm.
but you don't see anything. Then in the distance, you hear something. You hear a light sound that doesn't sound pleasant, but you can't quite make it out. Make a perception check for me.
7.
7.
Mhm.
What was the initial roll?
1.
Okay, so this is teaching you something that we do. When you roll a 1, that's called a natural 1, which is a automatic failure,
Okay.
a critical failure. When you roll a 20, that's called a critical success or a natural 20. So you would say natural 1 and then give me the total. Or if you have a natural 20, you'll say you have a natural 20 and then give me a total of that. But as
Gotcha.
far as any other in between roll, you just tell me the number.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Natural
roll the
ones.
natural 1. All right. You can't make it out, but you hear it in at the edges of your consciousness, like you hear something. It feels like it's rubbing the edges of your ears, but it's like it's surrounding you, almost in like a bubble, this overlaying of different pitches of this sound in the distance. You don't know what that sound is, but it doesn't feel right. It feels like something's being taken, something's being lost, something's being removed, something's being pulled away. And it feels like you're trying to search for it, you're trying to look, you're trying to go in the direction, but you can't move. As the temperature begins to rise hotter and hotter, and then it gets cooler and cooler and cooler and cooler until it goes back to that resting point before. And then the color changes, and we're finna set the scene. We are in a very high point in the sky. Beautiful blues, beautiful, outstanding royal blues. Sun is in the sky. Up here, the weather is hot, but you can feel the breeze. It feels beautiful. This is a bird's eye view of everything around. And as you start to take in this beautiful sky with these wisps of clouds, pure white, we push forward, we start to feel the air rushing further. But instead of that heat that we just experienced, it is a cooler breeze, even in the midst of a sun that's beaming down so hot. And we start to move, and we're so high up, and we start to look a little down, and there is a horizon of where the sky is and where those wispy clouds are. And it's literally a hazy line that goes from blue immediately to this dusty reddish brown. As we start to descend and get closer, that horizon line gets higher and higher. And as we hit it, it's like we just touch it. We start to see that horizon line starts to blend together. The blues of where that horizon that's above that horizon line start to pale in comparison to these reddish browns that are starting to come more to focus, the saturation starting to be pulled out of it, and everything is starting to wisp by your face. It's earth, it's dirt, it's sand being blown against you as the beautiful sky and those wispy clouds start to be obscured by what looks like a sandstorm as we continue to push forward through it. and it gets heavy. It feels like there is no direction. It feels like there is no way out of it. It is completely covered. And then eventually, as we keep pushing through, it gets lighter. Still blowing, but it has become this lighter breeze where you can peek through and you can see bits of the sky peeking through the dustiness of this area. But now that it's starting to clear up, you can see the ground. It is dry, cracked. You can see critters and bugs crawling along it, but no sign of life here outside of that. There is no flora, no fauna, no nature, no moisture, no precipitation of any kind out here. It is barren, it is dry, and we're constantly passing over this. We come across this very distinct cracked earth. Then it moves into something more akin to sand dunes, sand hills that we're crossing over. And as we cross through these sand dunes, we come across the area that is starting to transition into pure dirt. No longer sand, it's pure dirt. And in the distance, we see something that looks like a large stone building that looks like it has been able to withstand the test of time and the distance with this very gray, dark gray slated stone, well built, well kept off in the distance, intricate designs, and it looks like it is a part of something bigger as we continue to pass by it and we go over more of this dirt. And we start, as we continue past this, we start to see more hills of dirt turning into a mixture of hills and rocks, a mixture of rocks and larger stone hills and boulders, and moving in that into mountains. But these mountains are not simply mountains. These mountains are flat at the top. They don't come to a peak. They come to a particular point, and we continue on through them. And you see that there is a crag, this huge mountain where there is one that does have a peak, but it looks like the mountain has been split a third of the way through and is missing a large cleaved chunk in the middle of it, and within it, a deep valley, but it's barren. And we keep going past it and we go further around it. We carve through it, following the path of all of these flat plateaus and mountains that are constantly pushing through. And as we continue over one, five, 10 mountains, it's a very mountainous and plateauic range. We finally reach a point. We see a place that is barren, but it looks like there is life here. It looks like there is something that is thriving here. It looks like there are people here. It looks like there are huts and houses. They look functional. They don't look like they're built for the sake of leisure. They look like they have intent. They look like they have purpose. They look like they are built for the purpose of survival. Let's take a peek down here. As we coast down, we start to see that these are thin, lean, but muscular humanoid creatures. They have different varying skin tones. Some are deep browns, some are tan, some are a medium brown skin tone, all with differing dread hairstyles, locks. And they wear these outfits that are very dull, but they're like functional. They're not looking in a way to appease anybody's visual. And you see groups of them. Some are walking around this plateau in a very particular pattern, around in different groups. You see there are groups that are tending to fires and doing something that looks like cooking. You have some that are doing things like tending to baskets and weaving. You see some that are in a field that is looks like it's been hollowed out into like a ditch, like a very large bowl. And within it, you do see these stone, like almost like those kung fu posts that are used to spar and fight and train with. It's like a stone version of these, and you see that there are these ears pointed, tall, lean, muscular humanoids there,
Mm.
and these are known as elves. And you see this. There are some that are shouting out commands. You see some are giving a huh and a ha as they are practicing and sparring with the stone statues or with one another. But there's something here that is off. We look by each individual and they all have some form of a similarity to each other, all but one. It is a different type of creature, one that spouts horns, a different set of legs. It's weird. Artanis, can you please describe what you look like?
Um, I have pointed ears. I have two hoven feet with large, muscular, furry legs. Um, I wear golden framed optical devices that help improve my vision and have a leatherish vest.
So,
That's
all right. So, Artanis, you are here in this basically training pitch, right? And you know that this is like the daily morning, like training workout before the rest of your day is free to do whatever you have to do. And you see that your instructor, uh, Nosk, Nosk, which I wrote it down, don't worry. Your trainer of the day is Nosk, and he is a lot more muscular than most. He's very strength based and very more about like the sparring aspect of training. He does not have any finesse, which is uh, not the same as most of the others. He's a little bit different from the rest of the elves in this place, but he is very much all about. working on that strength, working on combat techniques and especially hand to hand. And he has all of you working on your skills at this point. I would like for you, as it continues, make sure you keep your upper back tight and your core engaged. Make sure that when you are swinging from your left, that you're guarding with your right. I want to see this. Give me your example. And he's instructing his three stone dummies, and it's you and it's two others, which one of them you know is a rival, a self-proclaimed rival of yours, just because he likes to find someone to pick on, and you're the only one that's quote unquote different from the rest. And so this, this is Fortall, and he is a lanky, he has some leanness to him, but he's lanky. His hair is in these very short twists, and he has like five piercings on his right ear, and he's looking cocky as ever. And he just takes us and he sneers at you and just takes a look at you as he walks up to his stone statue to begin the sparring. Would you like to do anything?
Um, I would like to try to figure out his intentions.
Figure out his intentions. Okay. Um, make a, let's see. I would say your passive insight is enough. You've known him enough, and you've been around here long enough in your life, uh, and you know that Fortall is basically that bully. He is a bully that basically just tries to pick on
Hmm.
a person that seems like he's, maybe I can, you know, exert my will over somebody else
Okay.
to make myself look good and make myself
Okay.
feel good.
Okay.
So I want you to make for me a athletics check to see how well you do your sparring with the statue or training with the statue.
An 8
And you add your modifier.
modifier. -1. So 7.
Seven. Two other people here. All right, so the guy that is in between y'all, he starts sparring, but then his form gets off. He doesn't engage his core, just like Nosk is trying to instruct you to, and he ends up using his forearm to strike in the right in between on the outside of the forearm, right below the wrist bones, and there is a audible crack that you hear right next to you because you're on the left side, he's in the middle, and then Fortal is on the right, and you hear a cracking, crunching noise, and you hear him scream in pain, and but Nosk does not respond to it at all, and he's like, "Take him to the infirmary." And you see you two are sparring and y'all are struggling a bit. You're not the strongest tool in the shed when it comes down to sparring, but you somehow are keeping up with the training alongside Fortall. Y'all are basically evenly matched when it comes down to following the proper methods and techniques when it comes to sparring with it. It's a little hard. You're starting to sweat. You're starting to struggle with it. The fur in your legs is starting to make things a little bit more hotter than they should be with this sun because it's hot out today. But eventually you do finish. It takes a little bit longer than usual, but You finish, and uh, Nas says, "All right, we will move on to the sparring section between one another. Everyone, please line up in two lines." And he's like not giving anybody a break as y'all finish through the first portion, and y'all are going straight into sparring with one another. And you see Fortall literally pushes and cuts into line in order to specifically fight you.
Hmm.
And you see that the people ahead of you are starting to spar, and you see Fortall, and he looks at you, and he's like, "Just think you could catch up then. Doesn't mean you're going to beat me now."
Hmm. Okay.
Say anything? Do you do anything?
Um, I think of a way to use his confidence against him.
All right. How would you do that? You can respond as Artanis whenever you want. You are in this moment Artanis.
Your overconfidence is always going to be your downfall.
With that comment, are you trying to intimidate him to get him off his game? Like, what's your goal here by saying this?
I would like to bait him into making a mistake, which will give
To
me an
making
advantage.
let's see. Okay, okay. I like the way you think. Give me a. Oh, I forget about that charisma. It's okay. You got to go with it. Make a. Now, in this situation, because it's more of a coercion, I'm going to call this a persuasion check.
Okay.
He's already heated because you matched him earlier, so the difficulty is not going to be high.
Okay. Wait, I should be doing a persuasion check now, right?
Yes, persuasion.
Okay. A one.
Oh, so he looks to you and he shrugs off your comment, and he like just cold stares at you, and his smile that he has drops. That cocky like little smirk that he has drops, and he's like, and he says, "When you are on the floor, don't expect me to pick you up." And then he just looks towards and faces the front. And you get the feeling, if anything, you have just made the fire in him more absolute, more than trying to make him overly, you know.
Mm.
So you see them sparring. There's some people that crack people across the head, some people bleeding. Like, this is for real sparring. And so it finally gets to the sparring match between you and Fortall. And Nas says, "All right, next two." And so Fortall walks up and he gets over to his side, and you go to your side, and you begin when he doesn't say a signal, but his hand goes up in the air and he does like a chopping motion in order to signal the start of the sparring match. So
Okay.
this is going to be a contested. Well, it depends. How do you want to fight Fortall?
I wait for him to make the first move so that I can look to counter because I know that he's more powerful than I am strength wise.
Okay. So you are trying to now. Are you going to try to maneuver your way around it, or are you trying to um, kind of parry.
Perry.
Parry. Okay, so I want you to make a, you know what, sleight of hand check.
7.
7. Okay. So you, just as he's coming at you, he goes into like a more swaying motion, almost similar to capoeira, almost how they sway from side to side in their
Oh,
beginning
wait.
stance.
I'm sorry.
Hmm.
I think I got this mixed up. I think this is a 9. The dot is on the bottom
On the,
part.
yeah, that's a 9.
Okay, so it's a 10 then. I'm sorry.
10. Okay. Yeah. So you see him kind of sway from side to side as he's getting ready, and he's going to try to feint and go for a kidney shot on your side immediately. Like he's not trying to throw his punches, he's trying to take you out immediately. However, with your, preparedness and your wit, you catch it and you literally pop his hand to the side. And would you like to counter, or do you want to back away?
Back away.
Back away. Okay, so you parry him, and he trips a little bit, but he doesn't fall, and you back away from him, and he starts to approach you again. How do you want to handle him now as he's coming up to you?
I would like to laugh. I laugh at him and ask him if that's
So,
all he has.
okay, so I want you to embody your character and say it as your character.
Is that the best that you have?
And he like spits to the side, and he's like, "You want to play jokes? You want to be funny? Try to make a joke about this." And so he goes in quickly at you and tries to sweep you in the legs.
I sidestep him.
Don't sidestep him while he's trying to sweep you.
Mhm.
Make a acrobatics check for me.
13.
Oh, all right. I'm rolling poorly, poorly. I'm rolling poorly. It's okay. This is great storytelling. And so he goes for the sweep of the leg, and you sidestep him. You lift up one of your legs. You slide a little bit. You slide your right leg over a little bit. Pick up your left leg as he goes for the sweep, and he eats the dirt. Like his wrist slips. He doesn't like crack it or nothing, but his wrist slips as he goes for the sweep, and his mouth, while his teeth are gritted trying to get you, literally shovels up dirt into his mouth, and he starts spitting it out. As you see him on the ground trying to get it out of his mouth. What would you like to do? And his
The
back
first
is
attempt was
turned.
funny. The second was funnier.
His back is turned to you while he's picking out of your mouth, and he's just focused really at this moment on picking out the dirt from his teeth. And you say that's what you say. He still is picking out at his teeth at this point, but he does look back at you and make a insight check for me.
19.
19. He looks like his pride is being whittled down and slowly eaten up by the fact of that he just got embarrassed, because you do hear some of the other guys kind of chuckling at the fact that he has a mouthful of earth in him. And so you can tell that he's extremely wounded by that, he's upset, but the upsetness is starting to be overcome by the sheer embarrassment, but he's trying not to show it in his face. And you hear Nas say, "Do you concede?" And he says, "No, I do not concede." And he gets up and is trying to like literally charge and tackle you. I need you to make an athletics check for me against him trying to basically wrestling spear you
A one.
in in the gut. And so he ends up, what is that, 10? Okay. So he ends up catching you off guard as you're laughing at him, and he gut checks you with his shoulder, which is not, you know, that this is not what you've been trained on. This is not something that is a part of the methodology that Nosk teaches when it comes to sparring. Like there's etiquette still involved, and there's still sportsmanship involved. This is completely, oh, excuse me, this is completely feral, ticked off. He's mad and just is trying to straight beat you up. So I need you to roll a d20 for me and add your constitution modifier. So you're going to see that 14. You're not going to add the 14. You're going to add that +2 underneath it.
Wait, is this a different die or the same one?
Same one. This is a constitution check.
So I'm adding 16 to whatever I rolled, right?
Hmm?
Am I adding 16 to whatever I rolled? I'm
No, no,
sorry.
no. You're at your constitution modifier. When you see that big number, that large number.
The 14?
Yeah, you're not going to use that. You're going to use that smaller number. You know, the same pluses and minuses like
Okay.
the skills. You're
And
using,
add that
yeah,
to what I rolled.
yes.
Okay. 21.
21. All right. So so you, he pins you to the ground with that spear, climbs on top of you, and is literally swinging his fists trying to bash your face in. But you are prepared, and you know that he's a hothead, and you know that he has no sort of etiquette when he gets hot, when it comes down to when he tries to fight other people, when he's upset. And so you're prepared with your guard up. You have both forearms locked, you have both fists tightened in, and you tuck in as he's swinging at you. Some of them are hitting the ground, picking up dirt beside you. Some of them are hitting your forearm, but it's not hurting, but you are blocking all of his shots, and you don't take any kind of damage whatsoever. And this goes on before Nas can even get there. And then Nas hurries up and rushes by and grabs him by the neck of his leather vest and pulls him off and slams him to the ground. And he says, "You do not conduct ourselves like that. We show proper etiquette when we fight. Our martial skills are one of proper culture and class. If you cannot withstand and control yourself and your anger, then you are not fit for battle. You two, escort him away." And then you see two of the other trainers go take him away. And then he looks at you and he says, "Artanis, you performed well. However, you must not provoke others in that way.
I
Truly,
was
it is
only
unbecoming.
responding in kind.
But that way is very unbecoming of a warrior." You must show through skill and skill alone. Let your fist talk. Let your stance be the sentence. You performed well, but you have to understand provoking others will not always get you the desired result. And he just sits there and he just looks. And I would say, no, you have to give me an insight check. No, give me an insight check.
8.
You cannot read what he's feeling. He's stone faced as per usual. He's giving you a mix of complementing your skill and utilizing the skill set, but at the same time he's reprimanding you for not fully going into the full martial arts of it. So it's like a mix of like you did good, but at the same time, this is not what we're supposed to be doing at the same time. Clever, but not showing the strength that you're supposed to be showing.
Mm.
It's like you get mixed signals, but
Yeah.
they're clear mixed signals, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything or do anything?
I drop my head and sit in silence.
And he looks, you hear a soft sigh. Uh, I'd say a soft, sharp sigh. And he puts his hand on your shoulder and just simply says, we are a people of strength. We are a people of protection. You must learn these things. These are things that bring the quality of our people. And then he like walks off and he just says, sparring is over. Feel free to go to your homes for the rest of the day until tomorrow morning. And you see everybody starts to scatter and walk off and do their own thing and stuff like that. And you are free to go about the rest of your day. What would be the thing that Artanis goes and does next?
I seek out the library.
Check out the library. All right, so you go and you see that, at this point, you know that this was built, this I'd say villagey town city thing. It's like you're not for sure exactly what to call it. It's built on top of a cotton picking plateau, high up in the air, and you see other plateaus all around. But you do know when you first got here, it did not look like this. It used to be luscious. It used to be all grass here. It used to have the valleys that are in between the plateaus used to be lush with trees. You are familiar with this place like the back of your hand at this point.
Mm.
However, you do know over time the trees, the grass, all of the nature surrounding it, the animals started to scatter. All of the flora and fauna started to dry up, wilt, crack. It started disappearing over time until one day, while you were sitting out one day, you saw in the far, far, far horizon, somewhere around near where the sun starts to rise, you saw a bright flash of light. It was dark out, but it was almost as if the sun was rising again. And after that day, you saw that you saw there was a pattern. Not necessarily a pattern, but you saw that there was a weird correlation. As soon as that flash of light started happening, you started seeing the world itself start to change. And you're unforsure of what that was about. And so you go on this plateau, you still see the houses that still have the wood frames and all of those things. Some of them still have the properly dried grass, thatched roofs. Some of them no longer have them, so they replaced it with the petrified woods that are left over and trying to make do with mounded dirt and mud packed on top. There is still a stream in the valleys. It takes a little bit of a trip to get water, but y'all are able to manage that for this place that y'all live. And tell me the place, by the way, what this place is called.
No, it sounds familiar, but also very unfamiliar. And I'm wondering if I'm dreaming.
Talking about the place you're in now.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm. This is not a dream. This is where it is now. Now I was asking real quick, what is the name of this village, town, city ish kind of place on this plateau? By the way.
I don't know.
Either you can make it up or I can make it up. This is what makes it fun.
um, you make it up.
Make it up? Okay. You know what? It's called the Astral Flats.
Astro Flats.
Mm. And the reason why it's called the Astral Flats is because you do know that there are those here that study the stars, and it is a huge part of the culture. It's literally all about how they navigate, it is how they survive, it is how they find their way. Finding correlation between the stars and direction is a huge part of this place. They're huge on survival, they're huge on protection, they're huge on um, retaliation, but not in a negative way,
Mm,
but in the sense of what they protect, they will fight for. So this is the area where the stars are the most beautiful when it's nighttime and you can tell the direction. These days, however, there are those days where the dust clouds up the air at night sometimes, but a lot of times you can still see the stars peer through even on the dustiest of days. But this is one of the places where it is the most clear and you can literally map out the stars. Y'all have charts, y'all have scrolls that show the difference at each hour of the night about the stars and what that means as far as directions and stuff like that. So
okay.
it's known as the astral flats.
Astro flats.
So, yes. So you make your way into the village town city of the Astral Flats, and out the because the bowl, the training bowl basically, is
Okay.
just outside of it, and that's where they keep all of their warrior and soldier training and all this stuff. And as you walk through, you get waves from different people, mothers weaving baskets, and you got people that's prepping dried meats and hanging them up to be cured. Um, and the library is all the way on the other end. This is like a strip almost on both sides, but it's in like a long oval, if you will, of a lot of these huts, like these houses with all this dried wood and mud and trying to make do with what they have around. And on the far end, you know the library is over there. So you make your way as you say hello to all the different people. They kind of give you a lot of them really just give you like nods of acknowledgement as they're doing their daily tasks. And you make it to the library, and it's not a big library, but it is a library nonetheless, and it is a one-story hutch that is about the length of two houses, uh, both lengthwise and widthwise. So it's like a square almost, and you go through the door. What are you? Well, first of all, when you go through, you see a elf with graying hair, female, and she has pointed ears that kind of curl at the tips a little bit. And she does have beautiful drooping earrings with like little copper nuggets on them. And she has like a cute little ruby pendant and like this flowing um, dress. And she has like a tight leather vest on, and she has like bracelets on, and she looks like she gives librarian vibes, full librarian vibes if librarians were elves, and has a bit of flair and style to them. And she looks and she says, "Ah, Artanis, back again."
Yes, I'm just looking to find some information about histories regarding your people.
Tanis, you know that you are part of us. You don't have to say people. You've been here too long.
Our people.
Exactly. See, still don't know why you're not used to it by now. It's been so many years. Wow. Let's not reminisce. Let's focus. So you're looking for more information about us. And this is her name is Farina. This is actually Fortal's sister. I mean, yeah, Fortal's sister, older sister. But she's absolutely friendly. She's so sweet, and you've never had a problem with her. She doesn't like Fortal. And she's just like, so what kind of information are you looking for? Like, because I think you've read through quite a few of our historical books about the Astral Flats. Um, what is your topic for today?
I'm interested in learning what I can about the manipulation of energies.
The manipulation of energies, like magics.
Sort of like magic, I guess, but more with respects to how I maybe can manipulate the energy that someone is directing to me. I don't really know how to explain it.
So are
Um,
you so if I'm saying thinking this correctly based off of what you're saying, you're trying to figure out how to control a magic that's being directed at you.
Not a magic per se. Um, well, today I kind of got into a sparring, if you will, with Fortall, and at a
And she like rolls her
point
eyes.
he he kind of lost himself, and it was a very unfamiliar energy to me, and it caught me off guard, and it really ended up putting me in a position that I wasn't prepared for. And honestly, now my stomach hurts a lot because of it.
Oh, well, Portal is a hmm, case study, if you will. He doesn't know how to control his emotions. He is always flying off the handle, and he is rambunctious. It's very odd. I do agree. It's very odd, and he is very off-putting. That's probably why Mother sends him off to the well almost every day, multiple times throughout the day. It's a very rare occasion, but I would say that it's not normal. I don't know why he directed that unnatural, I'm assuming, anger at you. Did I mean, I don't you don't seem like the type of person to do anything, but did he was there something that was
Well,
a that doesn't sound too good.
well, he was very confident, and I thought it best to maybe make him double guess whether he should be very confident.
Uh, Basically, you played into his ego, which is fair. He has a large ego, and she, for the most part, when she speaks, her face doesn't move a lot. Even when she chuckles, it's kind of straight but gentle. Um, but the only time, the only time you saw like something like really different was when she mentioned his name. When you mentioned his name first, and she like rolled her eyes a little bit, but it's only because they're siblings. They know each other, and she knows him well enough. And she looks at you and has like her elbow on the desk with her chin propped on her hand, and she just says, Artanis, honestly, I would just not worry about that. I would just focus on controlling your emotions and not get swayed or influenced by the emotions of others. It can be volatile, as you can see, and I'm sorry that you had to deal with that. That is very unbecoming of our people, but you should never let that sway you. Just focus on maintaining yourself. Um,
Mm.
there might be some books around here that are related to redirecting another person's feelings. And yeah, we can check over here. And she like just points to like the second row behind a row of books. And she looks at it and she looks through it. Let's see. Uh, Forgot to put that in the right spot after. Jarl decided to move it. I don't see it. Make a perception check for me.
20.
Hmm.
20.
Oh, a natural 20?
Nope.
Oh, just a solid 20. Okay.
Solid 20.
So, as you're helping Farina look, you don't see a book that she is describing. It's one that's like she said it's like titled um the maturity of the mind colon something 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 something. But you look through and you don't see that. You see books about the process and how to dig a well, basket weaving 101. You see all sorts of different books. You come across a particular book that says uh, the manifestation of oneself and harnessing its power as you look through the books.
Is this the book here?
And she comes to you and she holds the book and looks at it and she's like, "Oh, this is a theoretical book. It's not really. I mean, if you want to read it, you can definitely take it. I've read through like part of it and I wasn't too interested. I felt like it wasn't beneficial, so I didn't finish it, which is I know that's weird coming from me, but it's very, very, very theoretical. Um, so I would just take it with a grain of salt. But yeah,
I
you're
think I'll
free to
check this book
peruse.
out. It's not often that I can read a book that you haven't read completely.
I Yeah, I've basically read every book here, and that's okay. Um, you can check that book out. Go ahead. Matter of fact, you bring it back whenever you are ready.
All right,
Yes.
thanks. I think I'll give this one a look.
And she like just kind of kind of nods at you and kind of just like okay, well you enjoy your free time doing reading a theoretical book that in my opinion you should consider the more practical books, but it's okay.
Yeah, I think I'll read this.
Enjoy that. I am about to go reorganize some of these books that y'all messed up. And she goes off to some of the corners, like fishing through the books and pulls off one book and replaces it with another and stuff like that. So, what would you like to do?
I walk out with the book, open it, and I begin reading as I'm leaving.
Reading as you're leaving. All right. So, make a. Oh my God, let me get my life together. You're going to make two checks for me. One check is going to be hmm, a straight intelligence check. So make that one for me first.
So I add the 3 to whatever I rolled, right?
Yes.
11.
11. Okay. And then make a perception check with disadvantage. So how that works is you're going to roll your d20 two times, but take the lower number, then add your modifier because you are reading and walking.
Okay. First roll is a natural 20.
Oh my gosh, no. You should have saved that for later. Not that you can control what you roll, but still, should have saved that
And
for later.
and wait, what's the second one supposed to be?
What's your second roll?
It's a 10, but I'm supposed to add a modifier, right?
Yes,
Which wait, which modifier am I
perception.
adding? So 16?
Perception. Okay, still solid. Okay, so you are able to manage to, within your peripheral vision, are able to still see where you're walking. I mean, it's pretty open. There's no such thing as like roads up and down this huge oval on this plateau. But, sometimes people cut across, going to do other things and stuff, and sometimes they're not even paying attention. But every now and then you're able to maneuver around somebody. Um, but you're reading and you rolled an 11, you got an 11 total. You're reading, and this book is talking about some stuff that starts to reach into a place that just it you understand the idea, but it's the comprehension of what's being said. It's written very theoretical. It's talking about things such as it's talking about the manifestation of oneself, and it starts you starts to see that it talks about how oneself can manifest itself uh, through magical means,
Hmm.
how displayed powers can somehow manifest themselves through a person's desires and emotions and willpower. And that can come through religious belief, that can come through a need to care for someone, that can come through just a passion for something. It can come through in many ways, but it comes from a strong uh, willpower and a strong emotional desire. But beyond that, you're not really grasping what that means, how that's honed. You're not able to get the intricacies of what that looks like, but that's the general aspect of it, and that's just the first chapter. There's like a whole bunch more. Then once you start reading into the second chapter and it starts talking about forms of manifestation, then it starts getting to the stuff that's way beyond, and you're like, oh, this is some you know that this is some heavy reading that's gonna take some time. So you continue to read it as you make your way.
I placed the book in my satchel for me to continue
Okay.
reading later.
And so where are you headed now?
I'm headed to the infirmary to
Headed
check
to the
on,
infirmary.
I forgot his name.
Hmm. Oh, talking about the one in the middle that cracked his arm.
Yes.
Okay, he didn't have a name, but I can give him a name. That's Jarl.
I go to the
Spelled with a
infirmary
J, but it's Jarl.
to check on your.
Yeah. So you check on Jarl, and you make your way to the infirmary, and they point you to one of the. It's kind of the same size as the library. It's a 2 by 2 size of houses, and you see he's on the far left side where he's being taken care of. beyond the desk, and he's got his arm in a bandage, and he's kind of like wincing at it, uh, kind of like touching it, just kind of just sitting there with like a straight face, just trying to get through it. And he looks a little bit, you'd say he looks a little disappointed.
I approach Jarl and I ask if he's okay.
Ah, Artanis, is I'll be fine. Uh, appreciate the checkup. Uh,
I
what?
poke at his bandage and I ask if it hurts.
He slaps your hand away, but like, what are you doing? You're trying to make it worse. It's already inflamed, and I'm not for sure how long the recovery period is going to be. They haven't told me yet.
Is it gonna scar?
No, it didn't poke through the skin or anything. It's simple. It was a simple break, according to the infirmary.
Oh, that sucks.
I. Why does that suck?
I mean, because all the coolest warriors have scars.
I feel there is a misunderstanding of. Hmm, do you understand what scars mean?
Yeah, it means that you went through something very cool and you're still okay.
I think we are going the wrong. You train with Nosk,
And have you
and
seen
you
Nas scars?
yes, and you see he has the most, like, his face for the most part doesn't show a lot, but his head tilts in the way that's so slight, but it's like, what are you saying? That makes no sense. It's literally, scars are the proof of not what's, as you say, cool. It's literally a showing of sacrifice.
Exactly. Isn't that
There's
cool?
nothing, it's admirable, but I wouldn't call it, as you say, cool. It's, if anything, it's just duty. It's important, and it's sacrifice. It's a duty. It's an obligation to your people. That's why we train, because we owe it to our people, the people that raised us. And it's it's an obligation. I mean, is there something that you don't understand about that?
Well, I mean, I think duty can be cool.
Duty is duty is work, Artanis. It's work. It's something that isn't to be looked at as a great destiny or some flair or something to show to other people. It's something that we work hard to prove.
That sounds
It's
super serious.
it it is. How are you not getting this through all the training we've done?
I mean, you're in the infirmary, so I don't know if you're getting it either.
This was a simple slip of the hand, and it was wrong placement. We are all prone to error. And give me a give me an insight check.
12.
12. You you're not for sure exactly what it is exactly, but you feel like it's something akin to it. If when you listen to the inflection in his voice as he's talking to you, it's not like he doesn't like you. It's not like he is has a hatred for you or anything like that. He's actually pretty chill about you. Uh, but you get this inflection of, okay, this is ridiculous. It's starting to get annoying because who doesn't understand the importance of training and protection and the core values of the astral flat. And he looks to you and he's like, sure, my training, I made an error while training, but do you view this as a joke? I mean, the way you had your sparring match, you didn't use all the proper techniques. Like, it's like you don't view it as important. You have learned about our duty to protect this place, and yet you make jokes and you jeer and you gesture around. Do you see the importance? Truly, do you see the importance?
I mean, yeah, I see the importance, but Charles, you see more than enough importance for the both of us.
Artanis, you have to see importance for yourself.
Well, I'm glad you're all right. I'll see you later.
And he just shakes his head a little bit and was like, all right. And just nods and leaves it there with his arm clutched in his hand. Where is your next point of contact?
I think I'm gonna head home.
Head home. All right, so you head on, and you're kind of more in the center to the left. The infirmary's to the right, near the opposite end. You've been doing a lot of walking. You go back, and you're more in the center to the left, and you make your way to your home, and you see outside the your home, you see the very person that has first brought you here. You see Slint, and he's like just working on chipping off a stone. Uh, remember at one point many years ago that he used to wear more regal garments. They were in these purples and silvers and very much very intentional and very clear and clean. But these days, he's basically right along with everybody else. He's wearing the very the very brown and green, dark green, like the leathers and the cloth pants and stuff like that. But you see, he is here.
Hello, Slunt. What are you doing?
Ah, Artanis. Um, just simply just working on a piece of artwork, a carving.
Nice. Is it gonna have like runes and magic stuff?
Not this time. Not this time. Um, however, how did training? You know, how did training go?
Well, I got foretold to get pretty pissed at me, but it was pretty funny because everybody laughed at him in the end.
Sounds like you handled your own.
Yeah, but my stomach is kind of bruised.
Hmm. Let's. Did you go to the infirmary?
Oh yeah, I did go to the infirmary, but it wasn't for me. It was to check on Drawl, and he was super serious. Do you know the importance of the importance of the importance?
Even though he's speaking truth, Artanis, why didn't you get checked at the infirmary?
I didn't think it was too serious.
But your stomach is in pain.
Well, can't you just like use one of those spell things to just like make it go away?
Good. Artanis, when you are on your own one day, you will need to figure these things out yourself.
Are you gonna
You
teach me the
could,
spell to cure myself?
that is not that is not what's important here. What's important is learning survival. This is a place about protection, survival, martial arts, fighting for those things you deem important. This is what the astral flats is about, Artanis. You have to care for yourself. If you get hurt, you will need to learn how to bandage yourself. If you get in a place where you are in the dark by yourself, you could. To be fair, you can see in the dark. That's not really an issue. We all can see in the dark, but if you need food, you have to hunt. If you get hurt, you have to help yourself. I can't keep saving you with the magics that I don't put on display that often.
I kind of feel like Slint, you should teach me what you know with magic, and then I can put that with the training that I'm getting here. And then when they are together, that will be best.
Give me he like size heavy. Give me a persuasion check. Yeah, persuasion check. I need to write
12.
this out because I need to write something down. 12. He looks at you and you get the sense that he's giving you the guardian, like, boy, don't play with me, look. And he says, Artanis, I don't know what your current fascination with learning magic is, but you have to focus on the fundamentals of life. You've been living for quite a while now. Why aren't you? Hmm, I, you are a very expressive, somewhat expressive individual. And yet, you have to learn how to curtail that according to your environment. These things that they're teaching you here are things that you can carry in your future. It would behoove you that you would pay attention to the wisdom that is being shared. I mean, there might be a day where you might want to travel or go beyond here or anything of that nature.
I guess it's important. You've been around for 800 years, so I'm sure you know a lot more than I.
I will ignore the comment about my age, but yes, please heed the wisdom of your elders and of those who have uh, trained your superiors. They do understand many things about this world.
Can I ask you a question, Slint? I got this book from the library and it's about theoretical manifestation. Do you know what that is?
Theoretical manifestation, another book. This you've how many books have you read? You've read almost every book. You found another book?
Yeah, well, this one hasn't actually been completed yet. I just started. I'm only in the chapter one, but to be fair, I only got it about 20 minutes ago.
Let me see the book. I won't read through the whole thing, but I'll at least read the epilogue.
I hand Slint the book.
And as soon as you give me a now, we got to keep this going. This is tasty. Give me an insight check.
14.
14. You see just in his eyes alone, you see a twinge of a slight bit of a startle when he sees the book. Um, but he immediately adjusts himself without trying to be noticed, and he says they have theoretical books in the library, and we wonder why we have people like Fortall who are over exuberant in their actions.
Well, to
Why?
be fair, Slint, I'm pretty sure Fortall doesn't read many books.
Maybe. Why did you pick this book?
Well, I was kind of looking for, how do I say, books that would help me on like redirecting other people's energy toward me. And we were looking, and this was the only thing that we found that, you know, she said she hadn't actually read it. She started it, and I thought that was interesting because she didn't finish reading the book. So if I can read a book that someone else hasn't read, then that means I'll have information that someone way smarter than me doesn't have.
Wait, you were trying to find a book on redirecting another person's energy that is directed at you.
Yeah. Okay. So what happened was during the sparring, okay, Fortall, like, he kind of snapped and he charged at me in a way that I wasn't expecting. And I couldn't actually parry it. So I figured if I learn how to control that energy that's directed at me, then I won't have to worry about parrying it and I can just stop it.
So you're trying to these fits of fury that he displayed, you're trying to redirect those, or are you trying to just parry his fists? Because if you're trying to parry his fists, you need to do more training and take it seriously.
So I kind of don't want to use my fist. I want to use his energy from his fist and redirect them.
And he like keeps hesitating to speak because he's like, I understand where you're trying to get with that, but at the same time, he's trying to just stick to what you're being taught. And he's like, just focus on what you can do. Uh, We, how about we discuss this in more detail tomorrow about the redirection of others' energies.
All right. I think I'll just maybe relax and do some more reading.
All right, I will get dinner ready, and from there we can have a night's rest, and from there we can find out how we can navigate tomorrow.
Okay. Are we having stew again?
Why do you ask?
Um, because you tend to usually make stew.
It is a tried and true recipe. It never changes. It always tastes good. There is no flaw.
I'm not saying it's flawed, but it is very tried and true. And I think you've been trying it for about at least 200 years.
Old enough that I shouldn't have to say this, but Artanis, go wash up. Go wash up.
All right, we're having
And you
stew
see, like,
again.
he was just like, how dare you? Like, how dare you insult my cooking? And so you go on to wash up, and he cooks dinner. And of course, it is rabbit stew. The same thing for umpteenth years is never changed. The only time you can get something different is if you have a neighbor that brings something over, like sweet bread or uh, a meat, a different meat like goat smothered in a gravy, or different things like that. You've been able to have those more luxurious in your eyes meals, but stew is tried and true. It is tried and true. You anything you want to do before you head to bed and read and head to bed for tonight?
I sit down to eat dinner with Slint.
Say it is a low table where you sit on the floor. It has a very nice mat It is a purple colored mat in a circle, large circle in the middle of the uh, living room space. There's other furniture around, but this is a very low table meant for sitting down to eat. And you are eating in front of Slint.
Slint, do you think that maybe my legs look like this because I'm turning into a rabbit?
No, Artanis, that is not why your legs. If that were the case, then by now, through over 100 years of your life, you would have already become a rabbit.
Yeah, that's true. I just figured since we eat so much rabbit stew that maybe that's why I was turning into one.
Then I would have been a rabbit. But you are. Just know that you are unique, and you are born in a way that was through very special means.
Oh gosh, I'm special.
You are special. You're one of a kind.
Yeah, I see how being one of a kind works around here. And I'll be honest, not a fan.
Very different. I know there are disparaging differences between you and the other uh, citizens of this plateau, but try not to invest too much time in your differences and simply focus on your duty, the things that you can do here. It help in many ways. You're intelligent. There's plenty of people that that can assist you from your day to day, and you can assist them from day to day. You have
Do
a
you
lot here.
think maybe one day we can go to a place where more people look like me instead of like you?
One day. Make another insight check.
24.
Oh my gosh, y'all in these high stats, crazy. Um, and he is trying to keep a straight face, but he looks a little bit nervous, panicked. Like, ooh, that's a topic. That is a topic. We're trying not to dwell on that topic. That's what he looks like. That I'm sure that we can travel somewhere and meet new people. We can do that.
I'd like that.
I cannot guarantee that we will find someone that looks like you during our travel. There's always a possibility, but I can't guarantee you that if we travel, whenever That may be maybe after you've officially finished your training and initiated your gotten initiated in amongst the warriors, then perhaps we can do that.
Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool.
Right. And you see he grabs the bowl and downs the rest of the soup, the thick soup from the bowl, and like scarfs down the rest of his food. And he says, "Well, I am off to my uh yes, I'm off for bed. You go to sleep. We will speak of this tomorrow."
All right, Slip. I think I'm gonna go outside and sit under the tree and just read some more before bed.
Okay. That is a very heavily theoretical book. I would say to just be patient with the book. I personally, the theories are not really worth one's time. Um, but if you do read it cautiously.
All right, I'll take my time. I won't read more than 5 chapters today.
It's a just in a faster pace than normal. Goes to his quarters and closes the door, and you are able to go and you go to outside to go read your book, and you go next to this once beautiful luscious green tree that is now basically this shell of its former self. It still is in the shape of the tree branches, and the bark still exists, but it is petrified. It is now this white, off white, like cream colored bark with like indentations of brown in it. And you, even though at this point you know the tree no longer is living, it is still very much that same tree that you would always go under to read. Start to read. Is there anything you're trying to search for while you're reading? Anything that you're trying to see if it sticks out? Any topic you're trying to correlate to what you're reading?
I'm reading with the thought of finding understanding of why the energy I received is so foreign to me.
I want you to, because this is goes more than beyond a book. I want you to, these are going to be two roles. One role is going to be a history check, and one is going to be a insight check. Why are your stats so cotton picking high? Okay, I mean I know why they're
First,
high, but
18.
for the history check, 18
History.
for a history check. You already added the modifier for it.
Yes,
Okay, 18 for history. All right, now insight.
18.
Okay, all right, 18 to 18. So as you're reading, you start to get deep within chapter 4. Chapter 4 is one of the breakdowns of the types of manifestation of oneself. And this one is a manifestation of the subconscious. And it talks about the, and you're in a section of it talking about the emotional, the subconscious emotions of an individual, and it speaks of visions, it speaks of ideals, it speaks of these hidden desires that one doesn't even understand within themselves, that tends to manifest itself in ways that are shown through the emotional direct emotional contact of other people. It shows itself through the insight of understanding through other people's emotions. It starts to go into those very deeply heavy concepts that sound familiar to some experiences that you have felt, and some of them you feel like you've never felt, but they still feel familiar. And it makes you recall back 18. Okay, so you recall back to your time today with child, what did I get? What name did I give him? Let me go back. Fortal. And Fortal's anger is very, very rare, not just in the sense of to you, but to the astral flats. Everybody here, now that you're thinking about it, over the many years you've been here, nobody really displays emotion in a noticeable way. You've been able to kind of peer into people. You're able to see the heart of their actions, and you do understand that what they do is out of a obligation, but not just an obligation, but out of a sense of protection for those things that they deem important. And you know that you have been protected during your travels to the well by others. Even Nosk has protected you from different feral animals and of those things of the like. So you know that these people have some form of desire to protect, and it comes from a place of community. And you understand that, okay, this is community, this is protection, there's this desire there. It has to come from something. And yet it's not visibly shown in an emotional way as you're reading through this book. It's not, their actions are not matching up with the display, the emotional display. The emotional display seems closed off, it seems basic, it seems neutral. It doesn't feel like it's there's any love or hatred in either facet. And as someone who is a unique individual amongst everybody, and it's plain to see, they yet show that exact same those exact same actions as if you're one of them, regardless of how different you are. However, you can't, because you're different, you can't tell if they have any concerns about the fact that you're different. And so the more you read about it, the more you have this, you start to have these familiarities as you're starting to read, and it starts to pull on you in a way that starts to make you feel something you've never felt before. it starts to, the more you read about it, the more familiar these events sound to you, the more it seems like they're starting to correlate with things that you felt all the while you've been here. It feels like you've been heard, you've been understood as an individual. It starts to speak on the display of emotions and how those very emotions can be harnessed in order to curtail the emotions of others, to draw out the emotions of others. It starts to go into things about how those same aspects, those same desires to share your emotions and to use your emotions to help others' emotions, it starts to talk about how those same theoretical points about that can be used to draw out the magics in oneself. The manifestations of one's passions, desires, and emotions can also manifest its way into magics. And then the more you get, you get to the end and you finally get to chapter 5, which goes into more detail about that. And that is what I will say you glean from your reading.
Mm, jeez. Mm.
Detail.
I think I fall asleep under the tree.
Okay. So you continue to read and you're trying to push past chapter 5 into chapter 6. And you start to read it, but you end up being like, yeah, this is not working. Let me just. All right. That was enough information for one day. That was a little bit heavy on me for some reason. And you close the book and you drift off to sleep. Your world fades to dark, it fades to black, and then somehow you're black. After your eyes are closed, you drift off to sleep. Somehow that black becomes blacker and it gets darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. It feels like the concept that the color black that contains all color, those colors within the color black are being pulled away. It is empty, and you feel like you felt this before. It feels like you've experienced this before. It feels like you've experienced this many times. And this time, however, this time you're expecting it in a way. In the back of your head, you can't put a pin in it. You can't quite grasp it, but you expect it this time. The heat slowly rising, these sounds in the distance that are starting to culminate and circle you. It gets hotter. It feels like you should be burning up. And in that moment, you start to feel something as it's starting to, that heat is starting to swell. But you now start to feel something hotter on it in your core almost. And it feels heavy, but it also feels like it's alleviating something. It feels very familiar, it feels like loneliness, but yet it feels like familiarity. It feels like regret, but it feels like accomplishment. It feels like sorrow, but then it feels like joy at the same time. It feels like disdain, but at the same time, it feels like love. You feel this cacophony of these feelings, these intangible ideas, and they're all right in your core, and it feels hot, but then it feels cold, but it still yet feels hot. It feels like a cold so cold that it burns,
Mm,
but then it feels like a fire that's so hot that you can't feel it. And
mm,
you start to hear those voices around you, and they're starting to become a lot more clearer. You hear screams of a woman, you hear yells of men, you hear cries from, it sounds like younger individuals, children. You hear, you start to hear voices. You start to hear no, you hear no's. You hear take them aways. You hear this is the end for you. You hear it stops here. And then it starts to get louder and it starts to get muddled and it starts to feel, it feels like you can't focus. You can't focus. It's all there and it seems like there should be something clear here. It should be something that makes sense here, but it's not. You can't make out exactly what this is. And then you start to feel it again, that heat, that fire. It's black here, but however, you can feel it rising and rising, but then you feel a almost like a second skin that's starting to feel warm. And the black void that you saw is now starting to change its hue to a very, very dark red, almost like the color of stale blood, and it's starting to heighten and it's starting to get a little bit brighter till it's hitting crimson, and that's all your eyes can see, and you feel your skin getting a bit warmer, not as hot as what you've been feeling, but you're starting to feel it warmer and warmer, and then it's starting to turn orange. Your sight starts to flicker between those crimsons and oranges, and then all of a sudden you hear Artanis, Artanis, and you feel yourself being shaken, and you open your eyes, and you see in front of you, you see Slint, and he's giving you a look that you feel a familiarity with, a look that looks, a look in his face that you feel that you've recognized in his face before. This is panic. And he looks to you and he says, Artanis, you need to come with me quickly. And you make a perception check for me. Not that you technically need it. I'm just trying to see how much detail you can see here.
Uh, you said perception, right?
Yes.
22.
Oh goodness. Okay. All right. So from your petrified tree, which is a little bit on the outside of the oval, it's right there. It's usually facing. Uh, it's like kind of leaning towards the cliff, and you're not on the cliff, but you're like it's like kind of leaning towards the cliff. You're leaning towards it, and you're facing the oval, the outside of the oval, and you see roofs on fire, the ones that were the leftover thatched grass. You see people running from out of the oval, headed towards the slope. You see, and you, I'm sorry, not see, but you hear, you don't hear a lot of screams, but you see a lot of, you hear a lot of orders be like, protect the front line, protect the front line. And you hear someone say, you need to get him out of here. Escort him out now. And you see Slint looking, and he's saying, Artanis, we need to leave now. What do you do?
I get up and follow Slint.
Said you get up and follow Slint?
Yep.
All right. So Slint grabs you by the arm, helps you up, and y'all make y'all way on the outer edge of the oval around to where you know where the slope is on the far end behind the library, the slope where it leads down to the well. And you head that way. And in between that, you can hear sounds of fighting. You can hear wooden sticks clashing with other wooden sticks. You hear arrows being shot. You're familiar with arrows. You're familiar with the bow staffs. You're familiar with the sound of knuckle meeting body and fist through sparring and training. You're hearing these different sounds and the grunts of pain, and you see in between there, you see them fighting other elves. And most of these elves look like they do, but they are wearing different garments, different leathers, different patterns. Some of them have golden, thick plated earrings dangling from their ears. But behind them, as you're getting near the end, where you're on the edge with there's a more of a, it's not a crowd of people, but people are trying to safely make their way down because it's basically like a one man or it's a one man wide road that leads down, and so they're all just taking their time, being careful to not know, make sure nobody gets pushed or fall down. And you look and you see behind them are these elves, question mark. Their skin is very dark, and it's nighttime, but you have dark vision, but it's a little bit beyond your dark vision. And but you do see these elves, and their skin blends with the dark. You can see some of the white from the moon reflecting, one of the moons reflecting off of edges of their features. But you see their teeth. Their teeth are white, and they are a little bit pointed, but their skin at this point looks pitch black. And the robes they are wearing, you see, yeah, no, because I'd say the moon, one of the moons is shining bright enough. You see hints of purple and the shine of silver on the robes before um, Slant grabs you and tells you, "Come on, we must leave." We must leave now. And so he starts going down the road and takes you along with him. Anything you would like to say, do in this moment?
I asked them where we're going.
He, as y'all are making your way down the road, he, his face is a face that is not what you would deem and what you're used to. It's not normal. He, his face looks like his brow is furrowed. You can see those wrinkles in between his eyebrows, but you can see it has this look of, usually you do at least know what a look of disappointment from Nosk looks like whenever someone doesn't perform up to par. But outside of that, this looks like it looks like disappointment, but it doesn't look the same. It almost looks like he's kind of like those moments that you get when you feel lonely. But it looks like a regret. It looks like regret. And he tells you, he's like, Artanis, you have to follow my instruction all the way through. You cannot deter from my instruction. Can you please promise me that?
I promise.
Artanis, you need to go to a place far from here. I have the thing that I was etching as y'all was still walking down in a hurried pace. The thing I was working on is something that I've been working on for a number of years in case something happened like this. I can't tell you everything. Some of this you'll have to find out yourself. Remember our discussion that we had last night? Well, earlier tonight. This is the moment where you have to find out and do things on your own. Just know that as long as I've known you and cared for you, you are what's important to me. And I need you safe for now. Take this, and when I tell you to, I need you to hold it tight, and as tightly as you can, I need you to crush it.
Crush
And
it?
what you don't crush it now, but when I tell you to crush it, and you will go, you will turn 180 degrees, turn behind you, in case you aren't understanding, and you will walk through the door in front of you and just tell him that Slint sent you.
Okay.
Can you do that for me?
Why aren't you coming?
I I have things to do here, but I will find you in time. I truly will find you in time.
Okay.
See, he's no, make an insight. No, perception check, perception. Yeah.
10.
Yeah. He, you just see him quickly turn away from you as he grabs you by your shoulder and pulls you along with him. And you continue to make your way down with the rest of them, and you hear more commotion. Uh, Even though at this point y'all are at the bottom of the plateau, you hear a lot of the commotion. You see the brightness of the fires from the houses and the huts, excuse me, up top. You see it get a little bit brighter, but not too much. But you make your way and you get to deep within the valley of in between these plateaus, and it is deep in there. Like you're getting close to where the well is, and everyone starts to go around the bend of this last zigzag down from the plateau, and they curl around. And two of the trained guards that usually patrol push this huge square slab over, and it reveals this room. And he turns to you, and you hear them saying, "Okay, get in quickly. This should blow over soon." And you see Slint. He turns to you and he says, "Artanis, this is the moment where we say our goodbyes. And the thing that I can tell you is that you are not the only of your kind. You are not the only of your kind to a degree. I am I I'm sure you can tell that I am simply your guardian. You did not come from me, of course. I once knew where you came from, and I once knew who you came from. Find the truth, and the one who you are about to meet can help you with that truth. I don't have it within me to do so." And then he steps back from you and he says, "Tennis, crush it now."
I hesitate.
And he looks and he's like, "Artanis." And you see something in his eyes that is wet, but his eyes look more wet than usual. And it looks like he's almost like he's holding his breath. And he's looking at you, "Artanis, now, please."
I crush it and turn around.
Turn around and you see your hand that you did. You crush your one hand or two hands?
One hand.
One hand. Which hand? Left or right? This is
Right.
just for narrative flair. Right. So you crush it in your right hand and you see the dust from it. And when you crush it, it starts to slightly glow. Question for you, Artanis. If you were to have a magic color to your magic, if you had magic, what would that color look like?
Blue.
What kind of blue?
I would say a bluish green color along the lines of a lightning blue
Like
but minty.
like a minty blue. Like a minty
Yeah,
blue.
yeah.
Okay. So this cool blue color starts to emanate from this crushed stone. And it was somehow easy, as you see that that stone rock had etchings in it, and you crushed it, and it crushed so easily, and it turned to dust as it lights up, and it starts to float up, and it starts to swirl around your fingertips. And as it swirls around your fingertips, you see that at the start of your hands, they start to slowly turn that same color, bright minty blue color, down your fingertip, down to your arm. And as it does, your fingertip starts to dissipate into that same dust, and it goes all the way up to your arm, up your shoulder, and it literally drops down to your chest and your down to your leg, your right leg, into your left leg, all the way up to your right arm before it gets to your head. Is there any last thing you want to do before this light hits your face?
I tried to turn back to look for Slint.
Look for Slint, and you don't see him where the slab where they opened up the hidden area where they opened up is. You see him heading up the path. And when you see him head up the path, your vision goes completely white as you are completely engulfed, and your body starts to turn into this blue sand almost, as you in this ethereal dust mist starts to shoot off in a direction. And that's where we're going to end tonight's session.
Dang. Well,
So, how do you feel?
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. I got Thanos snapped.
Oh no, 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 no! You didn't get Thanos snap. No.